I think we can begin with the meaning of the word absurd. When I was a schoolboy, we had a teacher who was very fond of asking questions to me, and I was very eager to answer his questions. Whatever my answer, he would remark, "It's absurd. It's absurd." And I felt very proud that I was a boy who always managed to give absurd answers. Because at that time I did not know the meaning of the word absurd. Later, when I realized the meaning of the word absurd, I stopped feeling proud of the fact that I was capable of always giving absurd answers. Absurd means ridiculous, silly, foolish, meaningless, irrational, unacceptable to common sense, unacceptable to logic. Let me try to define absurdism in a single sentence. Absurdism is the philosophy which holds that the human condition is fundamentally absurd. I repeat, absurdism is the philosophy which holds that the human condition is fundamentally absurd. I am quite aware that it may be pointed out that this is a very simple, this is a simplistic definition. I agree. But it is a very good starting point. Why is the human condition absurd? According to Albert Camus, the most famous of the absurdist philosophers, the human condition is absurd because there is a disconnect between the desire of the human mind to find value, to find meaning, and the universe in which the human being is placed, because the universe is incapable of offering this value, this meaning. The absurdists say that there is no purpose in life, there is no value in existence, there is no meaning in this universe. Thus, there is a contradiction, there is a dichotomy between what the human mind desires, what the human mind wants, what the human mind searches for, on the one hand, and what the universe is unable to offer, what the universe does not possess, what the universe clearly lacks, on the other. In his essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, Albert Camus used the story of Sisyphus, borrowed from Greek mythology, to capture the essential futility of the human condition. In Greek mythology, Sisyphus is condemned by the gods to roll an immense rock, an immense boulder up a hill, and once it reaches the top of the hill, to allow the boulder to roll down. He is condemned to do this again and again till eternity. According to Camus, this trope perfectly captures the human condition of working incessantly and achieving nothing. Camus said that once we realize the essentially absurd condition of human existence, we have three options before us. The first of these is suicide. Camus does not recommend this. The second is to succumb to religion. The second is to find value, find meaning, find satisfaction, find consolation in spirituality. This, according to Camus, is philosophical suicide. The third option is to accept the absurdity of the human condition, to embrace absurdity wholeheartedly. Wholeheartedly. Once we realize that the human condition is essentially absurd, and once we wholeheartedly accept it, a remarkable change takes place in us. We experience a tremendous liberation. A great unshackling takes place. We experience a kind of freedom which we had never seen before. Absurdism does not recommend the rejection of life. Just because life is absurd does not mean that life should be rejected. Albert Camus has offered an excellent example in his personal life on the subject of how an absurdist should face life, should go through life, should handle life. A devastatingly handsome man, Albert Camus was not exactly a misogynist. He lived life to the fullest, enjoying life in every possible manner, despite the realization that life is essentially absurd. Thus, while most philosophies attempt to find meaning in life, assign meaning to life, absurdism refuses to search for meaning and declares that, on a fundamental level, there is no value, there is no meaning, there is no logic, there is no rationality in life. It is to be observed that, unlike most philosophers who do not practice what they preach, Albert Camus was very much a man who practiced what he preached. For example, he lived life to the fullest, drinking the choicest wines and pursuing the most beautiful women. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1957, if I'm not wrong, 1957, at the absurdly young age of 44. 2 years later, he died in a car crash. Certainly an absurd end to a great life, an absurd way of dying. Absurdism is very much related to existentialism. Absurdism is also related to nihilism, but absurdism is not existentialism. Absurdism is not nihilism. I shall be engaging a class on the close, complex, and at certain points self contradictory relationships binding absurdism, existentialism, and nihilism. From the writings of Albert Camus, we get a clear picture of the character of the absurd man. There are three important facets to the character of the absurd man. The first of these is revolt. Revolt does not mean that the absurd man takes part in revolutions, but that he revolts against the basic human instincts to search for meaning, to find value, to look for purpose. The second of these is freedom. The absurd man realizes the basic absurdity of the human condition and as a result tastes remarkable freedom. He lives in the here and now. He lives in the present moment. He is unshackled from the conditionalities imposed by religions, by societies, by systems, because he realizes that all these are, on a basic level, absurd. The third of these is passion. The absurd man is amoral. He is not immoral, he is not moral. He's immoral. He lives life with passion. He lives life to the fullest. He tries to enjoy every moment of his existence, fully realizing that his existence is absurd. It has to be observed that, as has already been hinted, Albert Camus was certainly very much a role model for the absurd man in real life. Albert Camus lived life to the fullest, lived life in the present, and lived life which was completely free from the conditionalities imposed by systems, and and lived a life which was a lifelong revolt against the search for meaning.